Good afternoon, good morning, wherever and whatever time you may be listening to this podcast. Welcome to Faith and Law. We have in our studio / office study here, Jonathan Gay, the chief cook, bottle washer, brains behind the podcast, and great man, Chief Patrick Boggs. Thank you for being here, Chief, and I've known you for several years, and you've been consistent, and I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here, and amongst such a great group here that I feel out of the water.
Oh, no, you're good, and I appreciate Brother Jonathan Caudill from our church, 21st birthday today. This is our second recording, and my son, Dandy Andy, and he'll be 13 on this coming Sunday, so he's accepting all gift cards and gifts and anything else. Fishing poles. Yeah. Jonathan.
Glad to be here, Pastor.
Good to be here also. I'm like a turtle on a fence post.
You wouldn't be there if someone didn't help you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Open us up.
Chief, thank you for being with us. You're new to your tenure as Chief of Police in Maysville. And before that, you had quite an extensive law enforcement career that included being sheriff of Mason County. Why don't you tell us about your career and you know what led you to this great post?
Wow. Well, if we're going to talk about career, I think it has to go back to, I guess, as a young child and my mother and father instilling in me public service and giving back to the community. I can remember every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, Polly Hessler would have a meal to feed the less fortunate or those that just didn't have family around the holidays. And my parents took my brother and sister and I to every single one. We would serve, we would clean dishes, and I guess that's where it started. Not to mention my father was interested in law enforcement, and the story I always got was he applied after college to a federal agency, and he blew his knee out during the process, so he never went back and went into a teaching career and insurance after that. So I had, I guess, that. And then unbeknownst to me at the time, I got the bug when I was a sophomore in high school, and I started riding along with the city of Maysville under Chief Doug Culp. And, you know, I was always close with the police department growing up because my father was an elected official. He was mayor and city commissioner. So I was always around them, so it wasn't hard to, you know, pull at somebody's gun belt and say, can I ride with you? And they would let me. So, but my sophomore year, Chief Culp, unbeknownst to me, put me in for a camp, so to speak, in Washington, D.C. It was the National Youth Leadership Forum on Law Enforcement. And I don't know how long it lasted. I was there for a week. We toured every federal agency, got to hear just fabulous speakers, made tremendous friends that I kept up with throughout my career. And that it was over. I mean, after high school, I knew I wanted to get a college degree, and I chose criminal justice and went to Kentucky Wesleyan College in Owensboro, where I had fabulous mentors. My advisor, Ken Ayers, was just, it's funny because we had different political views, even in college, my advisor and I, so I would go back even after I graduated and became sheriff and sit in on lectures and just heckle him. And my senior thesis was, of course, pro-Second Amendment, and he took the latter. Or the other side. And so we had many, many different arguments, and they were all professional and very well thought out and, you know, civil to each other. But I can't thank him enough for leading me down the path that I chose professionally. And then, you know, I had internships at Owensboro Police Department in college. I moved back to Maysville. And I honestly don't know why, because I loved Owensboro, Kentucky so much. But
the barbecue, huh?
Yeah, barbecue everywhere. Barbecue capital of the world, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And I got a job at the Mason County Detention Center under retired Sheriff Roger Case and current elected jailer Roger Case at that time. Worked for literally a month and a half, and Sheriff Tony Wentz called asking me if I would be interested in a deputy's job. And that's how it started, and 9 years as a deputy, ran for election in 2006, and won 4 more after that, 5. And I did not finish my 5th term. No regrets for making that decision. It was the right time. I think you don't want to overstay your welcome in certain spots, and I felt like my time was right, and there was a tremendous group to choose from to follow in my footsteps, and I think Sheriff Swalski is way better than I ever was as sheriff, and he's going to do great things and continue to do great things.
Oh, he's certainly great.
Yeah.
So now you're chief of police.
Yes, sir. I guess I need to follow up after.
Yeah.
Sheriff.
Well, how long? Now, you've been what, chief? 3 months? Two months?
Yes, 3 months now. March. Yeah.
What are the differences so far?
So the learning curve is not as large as you would think it would be. How have I compared it? Well, I haven't compared it. It's the same laws as you know. We just enforce them to a smaller geographical area with a lot more people in that smaller geographical area. So it's the things that I have to learn are of course, some internal policies are different. Definitely the city ordinances and codes are different than the county codes and ordinances, but a lot are similar. Like we mimic, I think the city's getting ready to pass an animal control one that is going to mimic pretty much word for word the counties. So a lot of things are similar in the codes, but there are several different ones. You know, the city has a golf cart one. The county can't have a golf cart one by statute. There's certain things like that. But as far as the internal workings, it's a lot more officers. Even though we're down now, it's still a lot more officers than I'm used to at the sheriff's office, which means we get to spread the wealth of work.
Yeah.
and today we needed that.
So what year did you start law enforcement?
1997.
Oh, that's the year
August
I
of
graduated high school.
97.
Wow.
Yep.
So earlier this year, we had an evangelist from Texas, Pasadena, I think is where he's at. And I interviewed him, not for Faith and Law, but just our church podcast stream. And he made a statement about the significant difference that he's seen across Christianity from the first time that he was on the evangelistic field to the second time. And there was this gap. And then Jonathan and I interviewed Sheriff Booty from Bracken County, and he made that comparison, or we got on that discussion about, how much our culture has changed in 30 years. Wow. So 1997, we're 29 years, if I'm doing the math correct. What have you noticed?
Wow. Gosh, I often say I wish I would have wrote down certain experiences just to have a remembrance, a better recollection of them. I can remember a lot, but not details. And I did an interview just last week with a children's theater group, and I said this. I said, the crimes I truly believe repeat themselves. And I can say that about how law enforcement is perceived as well. So right now, in the last 2 to 3, maybe the last 5 to 6 years, I can see law enforcement being seen the same way as law enforcement was seen in the 70s. I was growing up in the 70s. I wasn't in law enforcement, but not as welcoming towards law enforcement. Then you went through a respectful period in the 80s, some of the 90s, and that's when I got to start. So I started in the respectful, probably the tail end of the respectful. And I probably had, I'm going to say 15 years of my career in that respectful, and then the other half in the downslide. And that's how I hope that is going the direction to answer your question, because our area is very supportive. I'll say that. We get on a national movement every now and then, our community, but somehow we all come back together, and it's all about helping each other. Now, every community is going to have their problems. We're always going to have our our abusers, our drug dealers, our DUIs, thieves, things like that. We're gonna slow down. We're gonna pick up. For example, this summer we're gonna pick up. It's just there's more time on people's hands. It's going to be a youthful pickup because that's when we have all the youth out of school. But as far as I don't know, I feel like I haven't answered the question, but I feel like I have. I hope.
What have you seen as far as the culturally, as like from the people, and that's what you just shared from the law enforcement perspective is amazing.
It's I guess I can revert back to the crimes repeating themselves. So, and I'll go to drugs. So we'll bounce from heroin being the drug of choice and fentanyl to back to meth and cocaine. So, and right now we're in the meth and cocaine with a little bit of heroin and fentanyl. We went through the pill phase. I think our legislators have done a great job, and our doctors associations and pharmaceutical associations have helped us with not getting back in the pill epidemic. I don't know how you feel about that, Jonathan.
I cannot remember the last time we had a case involving oxycodone or every now and then you see a legend drug. Someone will have Lortabs or something like that.
And I just think it's the professional societies and our legislators that are helping out with that. I don't. But as crime, drugs are the easiest way to show the difference, in my opinion. Just from what's the wanted drug nowadays.
Well, what about overall morality?
Morality, I guess. How do I want to word this? Because I don't want to say any names.
Hey, it's just us.
Okay. So back when I'm going to speak from a law enforcement perspective. I'm going to speak from a religious perspective outside of law enforcement.
Very good.
I, as a young deputy sheriff, a fellow coworker, not saying what agency that coworker was with, I was wearing a WWJD bracelet while working. And I've always taken my faith strong and considered it just a blessing to be allowed to go to church every Sunday and worship. So, and this officer said, "You've got to take that off. It's going to conflict with how you do business." And I said, and I was very weak at the time, I'll say, and I took it off because you got here's a senior officer saying something to you, and you don't want to be that guy. So, but through my years, I've never felt better about and stronger about saying what would Jesus do, or comparing my work, because that's why I got into it. And I want to make people smile. One, I've always said God put me on the earth, and I've got this quirk about me, and I know you gentlemen can pick up on it, and you already have. Is I'll say something and I'll chuckle after it just to laugh at myself. And that's
good.
If that makes somebody make fun of me, then that's great. They're thinking about what I'm saying, and maybe they heard what I said before that chuckle. Yeah. But the end goal is to maybe get somebody to laugh or chuckle with me. And I try to see the positive in everything. Law enforcement can be very negative. Yeah. But without the good Lord, there's no way I would have made it through a 30-year career. I can't thank him enough. I get goose skin right now. It's and it's gotten stronger as the years go on, and that's from the standpoint of having children and a wife and a family and praying to come home to them every night. So my daily routine for the last, I'm going to say 5 years, and I'm sad to say the last 5 years, it should have been the last 30 years, it's 5 a.m. I say my prayers while I walk my dog. I come in, I stretch, I listen to the Hallow app, and then I read the Bible for a half hour. Then I get in the shower, go to work. And I'm sad to say that it's only the last 5 years, because I've become a stronger person in how I deal with coworkers, employees, subordinates, and the public, in my opinion. So I apologize to everybody for the first 25 years, because I might not have been as respectful, or I might not have thought about it the way I should have. And that's now that's from the law enforcement working. From a family man and keeping faith, it's hard to. I guess I try to, and this is probably bad. I try to anticipate. Okay, what would God want me to do as far as raising my girls, and without pushing. We go to church every Sunday, and I hope I've instilled that, and just trying to say the right things, which I know I haven't at times, or I've lost my temper with my children and my wife, but letting them know that that's why God was here He came and died for us to forgive our sins, and I'm not perfect. So
You're not? Oh no.
I guess, and I'm not intentionally making those mistakes to show them that, but just that's the free will that I have, and I hope I've done that. That's my wife and children know that I answer these bad calls, and they know, they can tell when I have a bad day, and they're the angels in my life because they put up with the stuff I come home with, and they're very forgiving, and I love them for it. So
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm going to say this and then give it over to Jonathan, because I could talk all night. I've always appreciated your stance on back during the government overreach days of COVID. I was so distraught, and I called you one day, and I'm like, I'm just giving you a heads up. We're having church this Sunday. Come and arrest us if you need to. And I will never forget, I hope not at least, you said, basically you have church and you don't have to worry about me.
Yep. And I believe I said, we'll come if you want us to come to keep people.
You may have. I can't remember. But I really greatly appreciated that, because to a pastor, getting the flock together is not, that it's vital. It is vital, not just for that congregation, but to those lives and the families. So that was a highlight in a very dark season in our world.
Yes,
so,
it was. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Jonathan?
So, Chief, you've been sheriff of a county that's fairly large, and you've got some real rural elements that you patrolled and kept law and order, and now you're chief of police, and Maysville, Kentucky is a bit of a diverse and you got a little cosmopolitan hub. But one of the things that we haven't talked about that you've done is you've been a school resource officer.
Yes, sir.
And so you were in a school for a couple of years. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was it's one of the highlights of my career. Actually, for multiple reasons. I guess forget the 9 years as deputy, but those that year and a half, almost 2 years, I was a school resource officer at Mason County High School. It was so rewarding because I was solely responsible for making those relationships or creating those relationships with the high school kids, which is a very tough age group. To see that I was a human and that all officers can be or are human, and you can talk to us and we're going to be the same no matter what. And at the same time explaining we have a job to do if there's something to be done. And it's so I don't know. It's heartwarming because, and for example, yesterday we received a call of a male and female having a verbal domestic. Just walking down the street, and I was the first one to find them. I found the female. She graduated a couple of years ago that I was the SRO with. The male comes running up, and he was also a graduate a couple of years ago. And, Mr. Boggs, he says, I'd never lie to you. You helped me out. And I built that relationship. And, we got that situation talked out. It was like I was a counselor yesterday. It was, and that's what I was in the school as well, helping out because the questions asked is like, well, how would you handle this? How would you handle this? What should I do? And that the fact that they felt comfortable to talk to me in school and allow me to help cultivate that relationship, yesterday was a prime example of how it's working, and that's what I'm trying to do as chief. Is that's one program we will. The sheriff's office has the contract to be the school resource officers, but we're going to still go into school, because if our officers build that relationship during the school year, here we are in summer, when we're going to be dealing with the youth more, they'll feel more comfortable, and they'll know that, hey, look, we can handle this in a more calm manner than what it used to be. So, but SRO was a tough decision to apply for the chief of police job, knowing that if I got it, I would be leaving a job I truly loved. But I think at the end of the day, I can make it work where I still went into school once a week, even after I became chief, just because I missed it. Yeah. So I missed the teachers, I missed the staff, I missed the kids. So, but we're going to incorporate that into the police department, and it's a very rewarding part of law enforcement. School resource officer is, and I think most people you talk to, officers that are in the schools now, will say the same thing. Oh.
That's great.
Yeah, excellent. So your wife is from Canada. We were talking.
Yes, sir.
My son and I and my wife and daughter went with us on the last trip. Canada is such a beautiful country. I don't know that I could live in Canada personally. I hope the Lord never calls me there. We were there in December, and it was for a funeral for a bishop, and boy, it was miserable cold.
Oh.
So I that connection, your wife moving to little old Maysville, Kentucky. I don't know what size of town she was raised in, and you had two daughters. Your youngest was
going to be a sophomore.
Was in
yes,
Montessori with my son, and that's been 10, 11 years ago or so, and
long time.
Yeah, it is, and I've watched you from afar, and we've had great conversations and a few things that it took a man of integrity to handle, and to handle it the way that you did, and I just want to say thank you. Not every community is as blessed as we are.
Thank you very much.
To have Sheriff / Chief / SRO Boggs. Well,
we're still in good hands with Sheriff Swalski as well.
Yes, we are.
Utmost respect for him, and I don't know, I'm going to continue to push him because I hired him when I was a sheriff.
Yeah, so that was a great hire.
Yeah, it was. Yes. All the guys down there are good. And you know what? Everybody at the police department, we have a phenomenal staff there as well. And, I think their eyes are being opened to a different type of administrative standpoint. And I think they see that things are already getting better. And
good.
I'm excited. I tell you, it's, and I'm sorry. I feel like I'm taking over the conversation here. I apologize.
Hey, you're the guest.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah,
they hear from us all the time.
I'll try to make this comparison, but somebody asked me how it was coming out of retirement, and I of course say, well, I was working during the school year, had my summers off, but. So getting back into this, my adrenaline has been so high, it's been unreal, that I'm saying it's like I played college baseball, didn't play that much, wasn't that good, but I played, and I loved baseball, and it's like you're that old guy that can't play the sport again, but you're back in it, and it's like the energy is just unreal.
Yeah.
But 8:30, 9 o'clock hits, and I'm out.
Yeah. I would say, and I just observation and knowing what unfortunately went through the police department, or what the police department went through, I'm sure that you have been able to lift the morale and recover some of that undoubtedly that stress and the anxiety took on the department. department.
And they've got a strong crew, crew that stood strong and stuck around and are doing flourishing now.
Very good.
I feel confident in those words. So,
Very good.
and we're it's so at the sheriff's office, I tried to treat everybody. It was not a secondary family. It was my family because all of our spouses and children were always together, and that's what I'm trying to incorporate at the police department. And if you bring people together, not just the officers, you can. The families will, then we're all cohesive and we know about each other rather than having to like assume something or at the last minute call somebody when you hear a family member is ill or something. You should keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think if we, I don't know, in every workforce, it's like a church. You're a family here, and you're everybody. Even though there might be different services that you come to at different times, you still know who's a member, and you have that common bond, and that's what I'm trying to create. Not the church. I'm trying to create the common bond at the police department. And so far, I don't know. I'd like to get everybody's opinion down there, but I think it's going to.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't know if you remember, but our church, and we need to do this again, Brother Big J. We. It may have been through COVID. I can't remember. We prayed over a bunch of prayer cloths and sent them to the sheriff's department.
I do remember
and
those.
to the city police department, and we've got your back. And not that you need ours, I don't guess.
I can go out here in my car, my cruiser, and I can pull the one out that I was given from your church. I carried it in my wallet. So
well, that's what
my
you told me
wallet's
a few
not
years
on me.
ago. So.
It's kept in my car, but
That's neat.
yeah,
That's neat.
yeah.
We do cover you all in prayer, and we'll continue to. Jonathan, any last words?
You serve a beautiful community, Maysville. I tell my wife, of course, as you know,
Yes.
from Maysville originally, and I tell her that of all the communities in Kentucky, I think Maysville is probably the prettiest town in all of Kentucky, and we wish you the best. We appreciate what you've done. You've come to this job with such a wealth of experience. Anything that our office can do to help you just give us a call.
Well, if I may, and I talked about this on WFTM, and we do have a beautiful community, and we need to keep it that way. And that's one of my goals is to. I won't make all the officers read it, but the broken window theory, if you're familiar with it, from the I think it was the 90s or maybe late 80s, but you enforce the smallest. And that way they're not surprised when you do enforce the largest crimes. So we're going to start small. So traffic laws might not have been enforced in the past. They're going to be enforced now. So we have to start small.
That's
so
good.
And I think we want to keep this community. We want to keep people coming back to it. And I think that shirt truly is the truth. Maysville is the center of the universe, and it's because we're such a beautiful, close-knit, welcoming yet giving community.
Yeah.
So,
Amen.
yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
good. Well, you tell Travis at WFTM he needs to upgrade his desk. The ladies from the Children's Advocacy Center walked in and they saw her set up. They're like, "Boy, Travis needs to get his game worked out." So,
The old kitchen table.
that's
what
right.
it is.
Chief, thank you for being on.
My pleasure. I really appreciate it.
God bless you. Thank you for listening to Faith and Law. Be sure to share this podcast with someone you know. And I hope that you'll subscribe, like, and come back soon. God bless you in Jesus' name.